Welcome to Behind History, where we unveil the raw truth about the tactical failures that redefined the hellscape of war. Today, we step into a new phase of the First World War, where following the collapse of the speed strategy, the conflict devolved into a frantic and desperate race. This is the race to the sea, a final, all-or-nothing effort by both German and Allied forces to find the single remaining open flank of their enemy. A final chance to turn the tide and end the war before Christmas. Unit after unit, from cavalry to infantry, desperately raced north, trying to dig in and anchor their defenses one step faster than the opponent. But what happens when that race finds no victory, but instead finds eternal stalemate? How did a series of reckless tactical decisions and reactive maneuvers unintentionally create an unbreakable 700-kilometer network that stretched from Switzerland all the way to the North Sea? We will investigate the moment the battlefield locked itself shut completely, transforming the fields of Flanders into a death trap. From shelled forests to cold coastlines, this is the haunting story of the birth of trench warfare, a kind of war no longer about territory, but about unrelenting attrition of life. This was the price paid for the strategic failure of 1914, plunging the world into 4 years of inescapable death. Join us as we explore the race to the sea and the trench hell. Chapter 1. The Successor's Despair. Following the disastrous defeat at the Battle of the Marne, Field Marshal Moltke was dismissed. At the German General Staff, the air was heavy as lead. General Erich von Falkenhayn, his successor, inherited a grim legacy. The Schlieffen Plan was shattered, and the war of maneuver was dying on the banks of the Aisne River. Both sides faced a bitter truth. They could not break through the other's defensive line. However, there was one last loophole, one final chance to outflank the enemy, the northern flank, stretching from the Aisne all the way to the North Sea. Field Marshal Joseph Joffre, the French commander-in-chief, acted first. He ordered French and British units to constantly move, racing north, attempting to get around the German flank, outflank. Falkenhayn did the exact same. This was the genesis of the race to the sea, a reciprocal series of tactical maneuvers where each side tried to outmaneuver and anchor themselves before the other. Lieutenant Pierre Laval, a fictional French intelligence officer tasked with surveying the last open ground in Flanders, witnessed this madness firsthand. He and his team constantly encountered German units frantically digging in. Laval realized a terrifying truth. The speed of the enemy's digging was faster than the speed of our attack. Chapter 2. The door slams shut. Ironically, the old tactics were the first victims. French cavalry units were deployed for a breakthrough, but they became bogged down in the muddy fields, easy targets for German machine guns firing from hastily constructed fieldworks. Laval witnessed the end of traditional cavalry warfare. Beautiful horses collapsed against the might of modern technology. The race culminated in October and November 1914 around the Belgian town of Ypres, where it met the coastline. The First Battle of Ypres was the final, desperate attempt by both sides to overwhelm the other. Germany threw in reserve units and newly enlisted student volunteers. Though far from the action, both Joffre and Falkenhayn poured their remaining hopes into this strategic duel. Every meter of ground was fought over, often soaked in blood. Finally, the stark truth was delivered to high command by Laval in a chilling report. There was no victory, no breakthrough. He described a continuous, unbroken line stretching for over 700 kilometers, 440 miles, from Switzerland to the North Sea. "We have run out of flanks to turn," Laval wrote. "The battlefield has locked itself shut." Chapter 3. The Trench World of Death. The stalemate gave birth to a new kind of warfare, trench warfare. The entire Western Front morphed into a terrifying network, not just a single trench line, but a 3-layered maze connected by deep communication trenches. Soldiers lived side by side with mud, gnawing rats, freezing cold, and the unburied dead. The horror became palpable when a soldier would startle, hearing the enemy digging tunnels right beneath his feet. A silent underground war had begun. In Berlin, Falkenhayn, trapped, was forced to accept the reality. He shifted his strategic focus to the Eastern Front, against Russia, viewing the Western Front as a permanent, closed-door, defensive works. Meanwhile, Joffre, under political pressure, was forced to seek a solution by attack, even though he knew it would be ruinously costly. The futile offensives of 1915. Moltke was replaced for tactical failure, but Falkenhayn was stuck in a far greater strategic failure, unable to win quickly, and with no clear path to win slowly. 4 years later, Laval, now a major, looked through his periscope from the trenches. The line was virtually in the same place. The race to the sea found no victory. It found only the stalemate of death, pushing the conflict into attrition warfare, a war no longer about territory, but about wearing down the enemy's manpower. They raced to encircle, but in the end, they encircled themselves in an unbreakable defense system. And so the race to the sea concluded. There was no glorious victory, only the birth of a 700-kilometer maze of death. The trench lines were not merely shelters. They became the graveyard of maneuver and the strategic curse of an entire century. The reconnaissance officer Laval's prophecy came true. The battlefield has locked itself shut. But was there another solution besides digging in? Could any commander, in those final desperate days of 1914, have found a secret escape route from this absolute stalemate? Leave your historical detective theory in the comments section below about what the High Command should have done after the failure at Ypres, and what solution might have averted 4 years of horrific attrition. If you are haunted by the secrets buried beneath the mud, the indecipherable tactical files, and the grittiest survival stories of the First World War, then you are in the right place. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications to continue this journey with Behind History. We will keep unveiling classified documents concerning the brutal battles of attrition and the enigmatic figures of this era. Like this video if you want us to continue digging into the dark corners of military history. We look forward to seeing you in the next investigation. And always remember, deep beneath the layers of mud, the truth is still waiting to be exhumed.